Chapter 4. I got to school and dropped some books in my locker. I heard a couple of girls laughing across the hall, and I knew they were laughing about the huge, wet mud stain on my jeans. I thought about hiding in my locker till school was over. I really did. I mean, could it be any more embarrassing than to have the whole back of your jeans covered in a big brown stain? I made my way to Mrs. Fielding's room, walking sideways. I tried to keep my back against the wall so no one could see the stain. I edged into the classroom and crab walked to my seat near the back of the room. Lissa sat in the front. She stared at me the whole time. Couldn't she figure out why I had to walk this way? Finally, I dropped into my chair. I was breathing hard and sweat poured down my cheeks and forehead. This day had to get better, right? Mrs. Fielding stepped into the room. She is young and awesomely pretty and wears jeans and t-shirts just like the kids. Everyone wants to be in her class because she's so totally cool. She was followed by a kid I'd never seen in school before. He had a helmet of brown hair on his head, a pointed nose, and eyes close together, so he looked kind of like a bird. He wore a red soccer jersey with the number 00 in white on the front and faded cargo jeans. "We have to welcome a new student today," Mrs. Fielding said, smiling, with her hand on the kid's shoulder. Why did he look familiar? I leaned forward and squinted hard at the kid. He was pale and looked very nervous. His little eyes darted from side to side. I've seen him before, I thought. I know I have. "This is Monroe Morton," Mrs. Fielding announced. "Tell us where you are from, Monroe." He shrugged. "I come from a lot of places," he said. He had a low, growly voice. He spoke slowly, like he was thinking hard about the answer. "My family, we move around a lot." "Well, welcome to Franklin Pierce Middle School," Mrs. Fielding said. "I'm sure everyone in class will help you feel at home here." She pointed to the empty seat next to me. "You can take that desk next to Noah." She's the only person in the world who doesn't call me Bean. Monroe made his way toward the desk. He had a funny, shuffling walk. He slid into the seat next to mine and dropped his backpack on the floor. Why does he look so familiar? I asked myself again. He grinned at me. His two front teeth were crooked and stuck out like Bugs Bunny teeth. He brushed back his dark hair. "Hey, we have the same backpack." I glanced down at my backpack at my feet. "Yeah, guess so." "I had to search all over for mine," he said in his low, growly voice. "Everything is messed up at my place. We just moved into our new apartment this morning." That's where I saw him. "You moved into Sterning House this morning," I said. He nodded. "I live there too," I said. "I'm Noah Beanstalk. Everyone calls me Bean. I saw you and your family this morning." "Hey, yeah? We're neighbors?" Mrs. Fielding told everyone to take out a pencil and some paper. I leaned down and opened my backpack. "We move around a lot," Monroe said. "It's way tough. New school, new friends. Hey, maybe you can show me where the lunchroom is later?" "Yeah, no problem," I said. That reminded me that I didn't have any lunch money. I glanced down the row of desks and saw Harlan. He had a huge grin on his face. I don't know why. He was drumming his pencil on his desk and tapping his big feet, annoying everyone around him. My stomach growled. I was hungry already. It was going to be a long day. I started to write my name at the top of the paper. "Wow, you're left-handed?" Monroe said. "Me too." He bumped knuckles with me. I liked this guy. He seemed really friendly. I'd been thinking about how I needed to get over my shyness and make new friends. Maybe Monroe was the friend I needed. When the lunch bell rang, we stashed our backpacks in our lockers. Then I led him downstairs to the lunchroom. He carried an enormous brown lunch bag in one hand. It was almost as big as a shopping bag. The room was crowded and noisy as always. Some kids were tossing apples across the tables at each other. One boy got hit in the head. He let out a scream, and the apple war quickly stopped. I saw Harlan in the cafeteria line. His tray was stacked high with pizza slices. He was having a great lunch with the lunch money he took from Lissa and me. Harlan shoved the girl ahead of him in line, just because he likes to shove. I led Monroe to the table in back where I usually ate. We sat down across from each other. Monroe started to pull out sandwiches and cheese sticks and fruit snacks and other stuff from his giant lunch bag. He slid a sandwich over to me and a carton of juice. Thanks, I said. I had lunch money, but I saw Harlan at the next table. He had pizza sauce all over his fat face. He opened his mouth and let out a disgusting, loud burp. Everyone at his table laughed. Lissa stepped up to my table. She nodded to Monroe, then she turned to me. Roz Hoff loaned me some money. Want to share my lunch? That's okay, I said. Monroe was sharing his lunch with me. Monroe flashed Lissa a grin. He had chunks of tuna fish stuck to his teeth. Later, Lissa said. She trotted toward the cafeteria line. I turned back to Monroe. He had a sandwich in each hand. He was stuffing them into his mouth, wolfing them down one after the other. He was almost swallowing them whole. He barely chewed them. After a while, he saw me staring at him. My mom always packs a humongous lunch, he said. I have a monster appetite.